So did you give them a gift or did you give them a transaction? For example, when my kids were younger, I used to go all out on holidays. I wanted to. I loved it. I wanted them to experience something that I never experienced growing up in a strict Christian home. But I did eventually go overboard. Let's just say I'm an overachiever. Anyway, when I did all these elaborate decorations and meals for my family for holidays, I wanted them to appreciate it. I wanted them to tell me how creative and talented and amazing that I was, for them to see this as an extension of my love. However, one day I realized, oh, if I'm giving, expecting something in return, this is not genuinely a gift. And then when they wouldn't say thank you or behave at the dinner table or help me clean up everything, I would get resentful. I unintentionally wrote a contract that nobody had signed. So when we give something in hopes of receiving something back, whether it's validation, praise, admiration, sex, or even just acknowledgement, that's a transaction. Psychologists call this intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic is doing something because the act itself brings you joy or it aligns with your values. But extrinsic motivation is doing something to receive a reward or recognition or an outcome of some sort. So I had to learn to give something with an open hand and let it go and not expect something to come back to my hand, which really made me observe all of my motivations. And it helped me stop being a people pleaser. We have to ask ourselves, are we giving in order to love somebody or are we giving in order to earn love from them? And when you have a trauma background like me, you have to recognize that your nervous system is wired to look for acknowledgement and appreciation as proof of safety. So you have to heal your nervous system so you don't keep doing that. So if you give somebody something and they don't acknowledge it the way you want it to be acknowledged, notice your emotional reaction then. If you still have joy and satisfaction from giving them something that you know they're going to love, then that's a beautiful gift. But if you become bitter and you start keeping score, you think, oh my God, they didn't even acknowledge this, then that's a transaction. Now you can request appreciation if you want. Like you could tell your partner, hey, it would really mean a lot to me if you would say thank you after I cook you dinner. That's fine because requests are different from gifts. Also pay attention if you're giving out of survival strategy, like a trauma response. You overgive so they won't leave or get angry. But that's still not a gift. That's like your nervous system bargaining. But remember, intimacy thrives when things are done purely out of love and not obligation. You give because it's who you are and what you want to do, not to get something back.